Now we begin Act 5. Romeo will be told about Juliet's death by his loyal servant Balthazar. However, Balthazar does not know of Juliet and Friar Lawrence's plan, so Romeo will only find out that Juliet has died. Let's see what he does then. Romeo says, "If I may trust the flattering truth of sleep, my dreams presage some joyful news at hand. My bosom's lord sits lightly in his throne, and all this day an unaccustomed spirit lifts me above the ground with cheerful thoughts. I dreamt my lady came and found me dead, strange dream that gives a dead man leave to think, and breathed such life with kisses in my lips that I revived and was an emperor. Ah me, how sweet is love itself possessed, when by love's shadows are so rich in joy." So we see a little bit of dramatic irony here. Romeo has had a dream. It's an ominous dream, but the interpretation is different to how we interpret it, because we know something the character doesn't. Therefore, we have dramatic irony here. And the dream actually says that Juliet is dead and Romeo is dead, but Romeo sees it as he is dead living away from Juliet, and when Juliet comes and kisses him, she will make him come back to life and they will live happily ever after. So our suspense is building, the tension is building. Enters Balthazar. "News from Verona. How now, Balthazar? Dost thou not bring me letters from the friar? How doth my lady? Is my father well? How doth my Juliet? That I ask again, for nothing can be ill if she be well." And so he is being set up for a huge disappointment. Balthazar speaks. "Then she is well, and nothing can be ill. Her body sleeps in Capel's monument, and her immortal part with angels lives. I saw her laid low in a kindred's vault, and presently took post to tell it to you. Oh, pardon me for bringing these ill news, since you did leave it for my office, sir." "Is it e'en so? Then I deny you, stars! Thou knowest my lodging. Get me ink and paper, and hire post horses. I will hence tonight." So he's again talking about fate and how fate has done all this to him. But at every step throughout the play, we've seen that tension between fate and free will, that they are doomed because of fate, but it is the choices that Romeo and Juliet make that decide what happens to them. And we're going to keep seeing this. So we see the tension between the old Ptolemaic worldview with its deterministic and fatalistic ideologies and the Copernican worldview with its humanist ideologies. Balthazar goes on. "I do beseech you, sir, have patience. Your looks are pale and wild, and do import some misadventure." So Balthazar's telling Romeo to be patient, slow down. But Romeo and Juliet never slow down. They rush through things, and therefore it is the rushing through and being fast and making haste that brings them down. Even Friar Lawrence says earlier that those who run fast and love fast lose the love fast as well. "Tush, thou art deceived. Leave me, and do the thing I bid thee do. Hast thou no letters to me from the friar?" "No, my good lord." "No matter, get thee gone, and hire those horses. I'll be with thee straight." "Well, Juliet, I will lie with thee tonight. Let's see for means. O mischief, thou art swift to enter in the thoughts of desperate men." "I do remember an apothecary, and hereabouts he dwells, which late I noted in tattered weeds with overwhelming brows, culling of simples. Meagre were his looks. Sharp misery had worn him to the bones. And in his needy shop a tortoise hung, an alligator stuffed, and other skins of ill-shaped fishes, and about his shelves a beggarly account of empty boxes, green earthen pots, bladders, and musty seeds, remnants of packthread, and old cakes of roses were thinly scattered to make up a show. Noting this penury to myself, I said, and if a man did need a poison now, whose sale is present death in Mantua, here lives a caitiff wretch would sell it him. Oh, this same thought did but forerun my need, and this same needy man must sell it me. As I remember, this should be the house, Being holiday, the beggar's shop is shut. What ho, apothecary! So here, Romeo decides that he will lie with the Juliet tonight, which means he's going back to her tomb, but of course he believes she's dead. Then he remembers an apothecary who lives in Mantua, hereabouts he dwells, and he's noted that he is quite poverty-stricken and poor, in tattered weeds, culling off simples, meagre were his looks, sharp misery had made him thin and emaciated and worn him to the bones. So Romeo says that this person, if anyone needed to buy a poison from him, from anyone, and the sale of poison is death in Mantua, legally, it's illegal to do that. But because this person is so poor, he might accept money and actually sell the poison to Romeo. So again, the tension is building, the dramatic tension, because we suspect that Romeo is going to use the poison on himself. Enter the apothecary. Who calls so loud? Come hither, man, I see thou art poor. Here, hold, there is 40 ducats. Let me have a dram of poison, such soon speeding gear as will disperse itself through all the veins, that the life-weary taker may fall dead, and that the trunk may be discharged of breath as violently as hasty powder fire doth hurry from the fatal cannon's womb. So he wants a poison that'll work really quickly. The apothecary says, Such mortal drugs I have, but Mantua's law is death to any heed that utters them. Art thou so bare and full of wretchedness and fearest to die? Famine is in thy cheeks, need and oppression starveth in thy eyes, contempt and beggary hangs upon thy back. The world is not thy friend, nor the world's law. The world affords no law to make thee rich. Then be not poor, but break it, and take this. So Romeo urges the apothecary, saying, You're almost dead, you're that hungry. Take my money and give me my poison now. My poverty, but not my will, consents. I pay thy poverty and not thy will. The apothecary gives him the poison. Put this in any liquid you will and drink it off, and if you had the strength of 20 men, it would dispatch you straight. There is thy gold, worse poison to men's souls, doing more murder in this loathsome world than these poor compounds that thou mayest not sell. I sell thee poison, thou hast sold me none. Farewell, buy food, and get thyself in flesh. Come cordial, and not poison, go with me to Juliet's grave, for there must I use thee. And that's the end of Act 5, Scene 2. Romeo is heading off back to Verona, not knowing that there is an elaborate plan. And now we begin Act 5, Scene 2. In this we have a conversation between Friar John and Friar Lawrence. Friar John is the friar whom Friar Lawrence had given Romeo's letter to. But as we're going to find out in this scene, Friar John couldn't deliver the letter to Romeo because he was in a place that had got the plague, and he was placed in quarantine in a house and not allowed to leave. So he's brought the letter back to Friar Lawrence, which means that Romeo has never received that letter. Holy Franciscan Friar, brother, ho! This same should be the voice of Friar John. Welcome from Mantua. What says Romeo? Or if his mind be writ, give me his letter. Going to find a barefoot brother out, one of our order, to associate me. Here in this city, visiting the sick, and finding him, the searchers of the town, suspecting that we were both in a house where the infectious pestilence or plague did reign, sealed up the doors and would not let us forth, so that my speed to Mantua there was stayed. Who bare my letter then to Romeo? I could not send it. Here it is again. And he returns the letter. Nor get a messenger to bring it thee, so fearful were they of infection. Unhappy fortune! By my brotherhood, the letter was not nice, but full of charge and instructions, of dear import, and the neglecting it may do much danger. Friar John, go hence, get me an iron crow, and bring it here unto my cell. He's asked for a crowbar. Is he going to open a tomb, maybe? Brother, I'll go and bring it thee. Now must I to the monument alone. Within these 3 hours will fair Juliet wake. She will beshrew me much that Romeo hath had no notice of these accidents. But I will write again to Mantua, and keep her at my cell till Romeo come, poor living corpse, closed in a dead man's tomb. So he's got a plan, but let's see what that plan is.